So then we are back with more information regarding then the renewed covenant, and this is the part of the teachings of Shaliach Shaul regarding then the returning of the Mashiach. Very important topic because people are then hoping for the new world to come. So what the world is then expecting is for the Mashiach to return. The word hope, however, there is a very interesting understanding of it. Every time you hear the word hope, it has to do with the redemption of the body, of the flesh. So there are many stages that a person can understand the scriptures. There is the relink of the spirit that is done. A person then is born again. The relink then is done, and a person must be then nurtured in a word. Renewing of the mind in Hebrew. So then a person grows in the spirit. And then there is the redemption of the body yet, because evil resides in the flesh. That's why there is the hope. The hope of his return, so then the body is then transformed. So then we understand from then 1 Thessalonians, the 4th chapter, there is a very interesting part of it because it explains then those who are going to be rising first. But these understanding must be done in layers based upon the context. Okay, so the explanation in a regular Bible places the situation on a flat surface. What does it mean? Each and every incident non-related with the others. In fact, these understanding from then the 4th chapter, and then from then after the 10th verse, those are in layers. We must understand in layers, not on flat surface. So then we understand when a person dies in the Mashiach, the soul is going to rest. Those who die without the Mashiach, the soul then goes to the inferno in torment until the closing of this world and this age. So then when we read, for then if we believe that Yahshua died and rose again, even so them who went to rest will tell him by then Yahshua, in this case it's Yahweh Yeshua, will raise them up. It does not mean bring with him. Wrong translation. He is not going to be taking people out of their resting places to come to the earth. It is ridiculous. The understanding is vengeance is Yahweh's alone. He will repay, that's his. So there is no place in anywhere in the scripture that states then, and then even those who then went to rest will tell him by Yahweh Yeshua, bring with him. He's not going to bring with him. He's going to raise them up when the new earth then is established. That's the first layer. And then the second is, and these we say to you by the word of Yahshua, that we who survive and are alive at the coming of Yahweh Yeshua won't precede them who have slept. What he's saying is this: precede them who have slept. It's obvious. We can come before them because they already slept. So then this area then won't precede them who have slept, is then the first area related with the second portion, and then the first was then those that even so them who went to rest with Elohim by Yahweh Yeshua raised them up. This area is then related with won't precede them who have slept. Those are together. He's merely making a statement. Then because Yahshua willed himself descend from heaven with a mandate and with the voice of the chief angel and with the trumpet, or then in this case we understand is the shofar of Elohim, and the dead who are in the Mashiach will then first arise. This area is not part of it. He's making another statement regarding the state of the dead. It means then the understanding is separate. Then in the new earth there is going to be a sound that's going to be given, and then those people are coming from their resting places. So then when they come out of their resting places, when the new earth is established, then they are going to be inhabiting a glorified body with already the Spirit in it. And then we who survive and are alive will be caught up together with Him, not with them, with Him to the clouds to be with Him in the air. He's simply coming to the earth to rescue His set apart people from their camps and the beloved city. The Gentiles by that time they are slaughtered. Read Revelation the 6th chapter. So there is no coming from the dead in a bodily form. These are layers of understanding. Layers of understanding, okay? So then, won't precede them who have a sleep. Obviously, they went to rest already. So then, the first portion, then related with it, even so them who slept with Elohim by Yahweh Yeshua then raised them up in the new earth. And then the other understanding is then as with then the voice, and he speaks of then the sound of a shofar. That's in the new earth. So then this area is cleared away. It's done in layers. It's giving layers, giving understandings. There are those in the earth that are going to be caught up in the air with Him. The word doesn't state from where they are going from that point on. But we understand Enoch also was taken up. Elijah was taken up. So obviously there is a transformation that takes place when a person is taken up. It's not described. However, those people, they are going to be saved from the earth before the shout of sulfur. So this understanding, it is in layers. It's mixed because he's speaking of order, orderly. But the first part, the second part, and the third part, they are related. And then only the point of Himself coming to save the set apart. That's why there is no coming from the dead in a bodily form. The redemption of the body is speaking of those people that are going to be found in the earth when He comes. Only those people in the camps and the beloved city. Those are going to have the hope of the body transformed while they are in the earth. The rest of us, we have our flesh contaminated until we die. The flesh is contaminated. That's why evil resides in the flesh. The flesh decays. So then the understanding from then this area of the 4th chapter is stating of the people then being raised from the dead in a bodily form does not exist. It was concocted. A person dies in the Messiah, the soul is going to rest. A person does not come out of the resting person, speaking of then the soul. Because you must understand that it is the person of the body, the person of the soul, and the person of the spirit. You yourself, you have your own intricate trades imputed in a body of the form of the soul. However, you inhabit a flesh, contaminated flesh. That's why the body aches. There is pain in the body. Because it is contaminated with the sin of the world. However, we must rule in the spirit. And there is the person of the spirit when the spirit then is reborn or relinked. So then there is no coming back from the dead in a bodily form while in the earth. The body decays, goes to the dust. That's the end of it. The person then related with the soul goes to rest. The spirit or the relink returns to the person who gave it, Elohim. A person does not come out of the resting place until the new earth is put together. Then there is the sound of the shofar and they come out of their resting places. Then they are granted a glorified body. People were made for the earth, not made for heaven. The trades of the person, the way we were made for the earth's environment. What are we going to do in heaven if our main trades are for the earth? There is no place we can be contributing in heaven. Crazy pagans had put together a codex and then people were swayed by it. Crazy ideas. A person going to heaven, a person living in sin and iniquity, doesn't understand the second portion of the completion of the Torah and instructions and the prophets. A person doesn't understand that does not have a judgment to come, because when a person is disobedient to the instructions given, a person is already judged. And then they think they're going to heaven someday, going to sit around and they're going to judge other nations of the very fact that they themselves are in sin. Completely lunacy. There is no coming from the dead in a bodily form. Otherwise, people would make a trade out of it. And so many people, they are buying cemetery areas to be then buried because they think they're going to be raised first. Ridiculous. The body once dead returns to the dust. It's the end of it. If you are in the Messiah, you are going to rest. If you are not in the Messiah, you are going to torment until the closing of the age. First, death. Crazy, absolutely crazy. Then they read these understandings that they don't understand because it's not flat surface. They don't understand the content, the concept of what he's speaking of. So the only event that takes place in the 4th chapter from then after the 10th verse is the fact of the Messiah coming at the very end to rescue the set apart in the camps and the beloved city. That's it. The Gentiles are far gone at that time. They are slaughtered, because in the 6th chapter it states, until the completion of those faithful of the testimony of the Lamb, they are going to be destroyed. Gentiles outside of the camp, they are going to be slaughtered by the thousands. Only remains the camps and the beloved city. Then when there is no hope for them whatsoever, at the last moment He comes. And those in the earth are going to observe Him. It's not every eye of every person ever lived is going to observe Him. It's ridiculous. Only the people that are in the earth. They make such a concocted, crazy ideas. Obviously, He's coming in the clouds, and then the world is going to observe Him. Those who are alive in the earth. Why then those people in the inferno, they are going to observe Him if they were never obedient? What for? There is no reason. And then the believers that are resting, why are they going to gaze at Him for? They are already saved. They are resting. And then people upon death, then going to heaven, you were made for the earth. What are you going to do in heaven? How are you going to rule in heaven if in the earth you are in sin? Yahweh Yeshua said, the least of the orders, the least of the law is the Shabbat. Then when he was explaining to the people of the law, scribes and Pharisees and such, he said, if you then include or exclude from the biblical laws the tiniest amount, then you be then the least in the kingdom. Don't teach takanot ma'asim, but be obedient to what the Creator has taught you. Gentiles in the level of faith, renewed covenant. Then those that are set apart, the Hebrews, in the level of the covenant, in each camp. The rest of us, when we die, we are in the Messiah, we go to rest. Our souls are going to rest. Those people that die without the Messiah, their souls are going just straight down to the infernal torment until the closing of this world. Ends with a shower of sulfur. If you go to the Sodom and the cities of the plain over there in the east, you're going to find yet sulfur pieces that came from heaven. If you light out a match to it, comes out a blue flame and melts metal. Shimon said at the end of time, then the elements of the earth are going to be burnt with intense heat. That's where it came from. So then this air then is cleared away. There is no rising from the dead in a bodily form while in the earth. The body returns to the dust, in the dust remains. So then takes away this crazy idea from these ungodly people while they're thinking they are serving the Creator, concocting theories. Then because He's going to come and rescue us from this perverse world. No, He's not coming as the Savior anymore. He's coming as the judge. That's the part that people get mixed up. The first feast He came, the spring feast, He came as the servant to teach us to trust Him. The second feast is the judgment. Those found not obedient to the level that they were entrusted with, Gentiles, the guidelines, set apart people, the Torah, and the prophets, in each camp. Then He is coming as the judge. If you found with sin, you are judged. That's past tense. But then people don't understand the second feast, the autumn feast. Where do you think we get the sound of the shofar from? Autumn feast. Autumn. That's autumn. Season autumn. So there is no coming from the dead in a bodily form. The regular Bibles, they were scoundrelized. They made scoundrels out of it. In purpose, they twisted to make you a scoundrel, a liar, and you believed a lie. So then you have to re-educate yourself and learn then the Hebraic understanding, and this was the intention at first. These regular Bibles are ridiculous. Can you imagine the Creator Himself coming in person then to give you a license to sin from the very laws that He came to die for? It's ignorance. People are ignorant. They don't understand the second feast. They think that He came to complete, and then the Torah was completed, the instructions, and it was abolished. What about the second feast? Half is half. Half of the Torah, half of the prophets is spring feast. The other half and a half is the autumn feast. Why do you think then the first half is more important than the second? Because you were ignorant. You didn't know there was a second feast. So then with these understandings in mind, when we begin to read then what He meant, come in the clouds, and then those then who died in Him is going to be raising first. He's talking about then in a new earth. When a new earth is established, it's going to have a sound of a shofar. Then people are going to start raising from their resting places. Those who died first in Him, they are going to be raised first. Does it make sense? In the new earth, then when the sound of the shofar comes, time to get up from their resting places. And then those that died first in Him, they're going to be raised first. That's what He's pointing. It doesn't mean people in this previous earth, when the body goes to the dust, remains in the dust. So then is a time to return to the real Mashiach. Let's humble ourselves and come to the Mashiach. His name is Yahweh Yeshua. And He inhabits each Holy of Holies of each camp. That's where He's found. Ruach HaKodesh, He inhabits the set apart people when they are obedient. We Gentiles, we receive the ministrations. That's why there is the word ministry. The ministrations of Ruach HaKodesh. 7 spirits of Elohim, 7 functions. That's what we receive, Gentiles, through the hands of the set apart. So then this area then is taken care of. Much more coming up.